Okay, so we got some good news recently, and it is that we have 3 studios in the new Mix Magazine Class of 2023 issue.
We do.
It came out about a week and a half ago.
Yep.
And that's big. I mean, we've had studios in every issue going back to 2013, but and we've had a couple issues where we've had 2 in there, but this was the first time that we've ever had 3, which is very exciting. But these 3 are the ones that made it. The first one is Fontaine Records out of Lighthouse Point, Florida. And Indy Fontaine is an artist. This is a studio in her home. We worked with her and her husband, Sean Benyo. And there's a really cool aesthetic in this space. It's like a Cuban theme aesthetic. And I don't know if we have many studios that have this much red in them either, you know. But I just love the way that it came out. Like that panel on the right hand side is actually a image panel from Acoustical Fulfillment where that's printed on fabric, and it's an absorber. It's an acoustical panel. And then also you've got some custom diffusers throughout the space. The diffusers on the ceiling are actually hexagon shaped, and that's something you don't see all that often. Usually they're square, and so that was a custom design that we put together, and then they had a manufacturer build that custom for them. And then we even have areas around the room where some guitars can be hung, because it's a very creative space to where it's just like they'll go in there with a full band and just jam and come up with some different things. There's also a door there that you see that leads to an ISO booth, so they have a vocal booth there. And then the control room here on the next slide is an interesting element there. He really liked the idea of having mirrors on the sidewalls. And so instead of having a flat reflective mirror there, we actually angled them all pretty steeply so that reflection off of those would not come back to the mix position. But then in that space behind the angle, we actually built bass traps. And so the speaker, all it sees is absorption because of the angle of those mirrors, and then it's very deep bass trapping that happens behind it. So the next one here is Legacy Soundworks, which is in Cincinnati, Ohio. I think from start to finish, I've probably been about 3 years or so that I worked with Brent Shepard and his 2 sons, Eric and Scott. They run this studio, and it's so cool that it got finished, but then even better that they got selected for Mix Magazine after like all the time it took to get this place put together. But this is their control room, and they've got a really nice sized control room. Got PMC speakers in there, firing back towards a custom diffuser array on the back wall. And then the live room is really spacious and tall ceilings, and a lot of flexibility you have in here to be able to kind of move from space to space and get a different sound within the room. Also, the drum room that you can see in this photo is got adaptive acoustics in there with the Flex 48 from Acoustical Fulfillment, but also a curtain system that allows them to kind of draw the curtain closed and make it more dead if they want to, but then liven it up for drums or whatever application. Another view here of from the drum room looking towards an isolation booth on the left, and then it goes in through the control room there you see with those diffusers on the back wall. But yeah, just a wonderful facility. It's really cool for Cincinnati to have a new studio that's of this caliber, and I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing in there.
Yeah, me too.
And then the last one, the very last one here is Tim Henson Studio. And Tim has just been super fun to work with. He's the lead guitarist for Polyphia. Probably most people know that. He's really big right now. They're really successful band, and he's just uber talented along with everybody in Polyphia. But Tim's studio was on the second level of his house, and he wanted to make sure he had a space that was well isolated, and so he didn't disturb any neighbors, but then also had a certain aesthetic going for. And I remember, we always talk about getting inspiration images for clients, and Tim, I think this is the only one to date, is that he just sent a photo of a living room that he liked. He's just like, man, if it could have the vibe of this living room, then I would be pretty happy. And I think we pulled it off. It's very similar to the image that he sent, but it has all the acoustical elements that we need to. Right. So soffit bass trap around the perimeter, ceiling cloud, absorption on the walls, wood slatted front wall to help with bass trapping on the front. And then those trees, the trees are super important to the acoustical design. Actually not, but they do set the room off. It's something that's really cool. So he's got obviously a lot of guitars. Some of them are signature guitars of his, but just uber talented. Actually, these photos are actually, it's kind of fun. This first photo has the white Genel X, and the second photo is an older photo that has the black Genel X. So the white ones are the current state of the room. And then he also has this drum room to be able to isolate the drums. They use this room for rehearsal for their tours a lot as well. And he doesn't disturb his neighbors, and it's a nice quiet spot for him to be creative in.
Yeah.